Hey guys, how's everything going? This is JSer. In this video, I'm going to do the third video about CSS grid layout. In the previous one, I've explained how the auto placement algorithms for CSS grid layout works. I hope it helped. In this video, I'm going to do a video about box alignment for CSS grid. I think actually in my channel there is a box alignment explanation for Flexbox. If you're interested, you can give it a search. So let's begin. It's related to the Flexbox. It's similar. So let's begin. First, we need to define the axis. Okay, so Flexbox, the default flex direction is row. If you treat that this is a flex box, then the main axis, which is the block axis, is actually horizontal, is here. But for a grid, default behavior is the grid track as a row track as a grid track and aligned vertically, right? So it's as a whole, it's actually a flex box of flex direction with column. So the grid itself, its blocks axis is vertical, and this row inline axis. Remember. Okay, so now, this is for the track, for the container. But actually, for each track, default is row track. So for one track, we need to place items in it, right? So now it became the same as the flexbox. So if we treat this row as a flexbox, the main axis for this track is horizontal, and this is a vertical. Let's see here. So for this alignment, let's take a look. Let's take a look at the grid. Well, it has a lot smaller grid. Before we jump in, we need to understand what the grid template area and grid area works. There is this. I didn't talk about this in the previous video. So we use this alphabet. We could define a grid just as what it shows us. So this is an area AAA, BB is an area CC, 4C is the area. So just as the chart shows, and with this definition, we could reference the grid area with this name, right? So this is an area, 4 areas A, B, C, D. We could omit using the line numbers, which is error prone. Okay, so now we come back to this alignment. Obviously, item 1 will take up the left upper area, right upper area. So for this grid track with the first row, and the second row, for grid track, actually we treat that multiple flex box. We could use the align items just as what it works as flex start. We use start, and it will align the start. If we use the end, just work like flex box, flex end, right? And then we can use center. Yeah, this is the center. If we default is stretch, so this is stretch, just like Flexbox. So it's very easy. So align items, which means how we align the items along the grid cells, grid cell. Yeah, this is alignment. Okay, so this is the case that we could set different align self, right? For each item, we could use align self. It still works the same for the almost the same for the Flexbox. So for the item 2 here, obviously it's align self start. We could change it to center or end. Okay, the item 3 is obviously it's end, right? So the item 4 is center. So nothing fancy. So remember, align items and align self just to be something similar to the Flexbox. Okay, items with an intrinsic aspect ratio. The default behavior is stretch, except for items which have an intrinsic aspect ratio like image. With browsers yet to you can ensure the items do not stretch using the start. Okay. Just if you find something weird, pay attention. Okay. Now, just as Flexbox, we could use justify content, right? But here is something weird. Rather than justify content, it's actually justify items. Yeah. Let's jump directly to the grid here. The grid is the same as before. We have this. Okay, justify self. It's start. No. Okay. It's n. Okay. Okay. So here is not okay. It's not the Flexbox. Flexbox is to define how the items, how the whole space is distributed among the items. But actually, for a grid track, the space for each item is actually what is already defined, right? For item 1, it should be placed within this cell. For item 2, within this cell. So for the whole track, it's meaningless for something as justify content to exist. So it's justify. It just works the same as align items, but in another direction. So we use justify items, use align items, and justify items. And here is justify self, center. Yeah, align center. And we could use align self, center, to put it center. Yeah. And here we use justify self, and we could use align self start. Great. Which is simple. So for grid, it actually has something new than Flexbox. It's justify self. Okay, here. If we want to define the whole, what would it be? Define the default justify self. Let's remove this one, okay? Remove the justify self here. Justify self, align self. Justify self, align self. All default to stretch both directions in the main axis and the cross axis. We say align items start. Self start. Okay, start. Okay. And then we could use justify items start. Yeah. So they will be all placed on the upper left corner of each cell, right? We could use n, yeah, or use center, and then use center here. Well, great. So this is align items and justify items. Yeah. Okay, so actually for grid there is justify content and also align content, which is align content doesn't exist in Flexbox. So what does it mean? Actually, as we said, we could treat each grid track as a component, as a Flexbox. So for a grid, actually, it could be multiple tracks, right? So how would we align these tracks if the grid area, you see, the grid area is this part, but the container is this big, right? We define this wrapper actually has a width of 500 pixel with height of 500 pixel, but for the grid track, it only has 300 pixel. So there's extra space, right? So here is actually what the align justify content with. Justify content will treat the whole grid as a whole. So grid justify content center, it will be placed center, and align content center. Yeah, so justify also we could have this something similar with Flexbox. We could use a space between. You see, now the grid has some gutter, the space with the purple area, right? So this is a 3 tracks vertically. We'll divide it evenly with the space between. Also, we could use space around. Okay, space around is space around. Oh, space. Yeah, space around. You see the purple area is 2, but there is a margin here. Here you see the width is 1, so this is okay, space around. Align content is the same. We could use space around. Yeah, but pay attention that actually for item 1 it occupies two rows and 2 columns, and also it will occupy the gutters. It will occupy the spaces, so it will accurately. Item 1 is not twice as item 2. Yeah. So to summarize, justify content, align content, something's content is about alignment of the tracks. Remember the tracks, which rows or columns, and the justify self, justify items, align self, align items is actually meaning how the item, the div or something, the content, how the content will be aligned within the grid cell. Okay, yeah. Right? Yes. So this is clear. Justify content, which is the tracks, and the items will be the items. Cool. So this is the alignment. Not that hard. Okay, so let's see what's left. Oh, this is the same. Obviously, you have justify align content end, so place at the bottom, and this is the space between. Yeah, this is justify content. Yeah, align the tracks vertically. Alignment of auto margins. Well, it's like Flexbox. You place a margin that the space will distribute it evenly. So if you use both margin at the left and the auto, it will be placed. Okay, let's try here. It will be placed in the center. So left auto, and we could use margin right auto. Yeah. Just one more word. If you are asked why margin auto could be used to place items within the at the center, actually Flexbox, the box alignment could be the rescue. Also, we could use margin 0 auto for all to place it in the middle, in the center. Okay, so this is it. Not difficult, right? And just before we go, let's take a look at the relationship with other layout. Okay. Okay, so this is a comparison between grid layout and Flexbox. So Flexbox works from the content out. Is to set, we have a box and we need to put content in. How will we space them out evenly? Yeah, this is a common case. But for grid, we actually define the grid first without knowing anything about the content. We define the lines, right? Define the cells and then place the items into the cells. Okay, this is the box layout, align self, nothing fancy. This is align self, nothing fancy. Notice that the start is different from the flex start, okay? Fraction unit, flex spaces, yeah. We have something new here, is autofill and autofit. Okay, autofill, before we usually define the fixed number of tracks, right? So here, okay. If we add new items here, you see you have added one more. It couldn't be put into a new row in one row, so it will be in another track. So 3 will be placed here. This is why we use autofill. If we only have 1, you see 1 will be here. It will not be stretched. If you use 1, he set it is to, oh, okay, we said is 200. Now the trick is that okay, 200. So actually you will have 3 rows, 3 columns, right? Okay, so we add 1 more, and if we extend the width, it will be automatically for 4 columns. Not enough. Wait a minute. Okay, we should do 800. Oh, still 3. Oh, this is about the border, I think. We remove the border. Yeah. If we have to keep it the border, we should use box sizing content box. Yeah. So the row, we could automatically do that. And then there is a thing called autofit. Autofit is autofit works with the min-max function. And yeah, we see the grid, 3 grid, right? But if we change the width to 500 for like say 700, it's still 3 grid. It's responsive, you know. So the min-max is minimum is 200 pixel. If it is bigger than it, then it will actually be, the space will be taken up by these 3 items automatically, right? If there are 100, 1000 pixel, it would still be 3 columns. And then if we add 1, okay, it will be 4 columns, right? And then if we add more, finally, it's gonna won't fit. So this new one will be placed in the row, but different than the previous one. Previous one, we don't have any. We would have some space left. Okay, here's 5. You see the space here, but if we use fit, it won't be. We could use just the change the dimension for each cell automatically. This is what autofit for. Okay, another thing is about the position within the grid cell. We could place item with absolute position, which means the container, grid container itself, could have a stacking context by setting the position to relative. Okay, so this is block 3. We set the top 40 is here, the left 40 is here, but the origin for these div is here, is the cell 2, right? Because it says the grid column start. It's meaning it should be a default. If there is no left and top, it should be placed at here. If we don't set the relative, then it's gone, right? It will be here. Yeah, it will be treating the here as a stacking context. Yeah, reasonable, because for the container, it doesn't know what the children are. It only defines the grid. A grid is virtual. Okay. Yeah, this is it. And then this block is positioned within the items, but it has the position relative and the grid column start. The position of itself is set. If we set the position non-relative, still, so the items within the container doesn't have have the stacking context as default. You see the items within it were actually based on the container itself. So if you want to say origin to this, we need to set the position relative. Or as we said, we could set the relative to the parent, right? The position here. Great. yeah, if the absolute position item is nested inside the grid area, we can create a position context on that area. Oh, yes. And here, yeah, I see. I'm sorry. This is about the grid items itself. If it has a position, it should be based on the container. But this is some within the item, right? So we need to set the position here to relative. Okay, the last one, grid and display contents. Wow, this is very tricky. I actually find it very hard to understand. Okay, so let's jump right to the example here. So this is a grid, and this is a nested box. This is default behavior, and within the first grid item, there will be 3 divs here. So default is line ABC, and then we change the box 1 display to contents. So now the items will be treated as a grid together with the grid outside. Let's toggle the display. You see, so why this is useful? Actually, I don't know. It's kind of like grouping some items together, but actually without letting people know that they are grouped, right? I think so. If we add some, so you see, there is no. This item is gone. This wrapper is gone. Could we change something here? Compute it. Auto. Background red. Yeah. Okay, no. Here, if you don't set the background, let's say background is transparent. And box here, padding. No, it doesn't work. So it's gone. I don't know what it is for. This can be a way to get items nested into the grid to act if they are part of the grid, and it is a way around some issues where that would be solved by subgrading one step. Okay, so actually you don't need to solve this. You use this, just use the subgrid. Okay, so this is it. This is all for the grid, CSS grid layout. Okay, there might be some other more details about it, like logical values, what they are. We'll jump them in future videos. Okay. Oh, this one is interesting. Realizing common layouts using CSS grid layout. Okay. I think I'm gonna do another video on this one. Maybe. Progressive enhancement. Wow, this is deep. Anyway, okay. I think I'm going to do several other videos, not all focusing about the CSS grid, but about the common patterns in web front-end development, like common widgets, the interactions, and the layouts, some nice trick stuff. Okay, so these will be put in that series of videos. Also, this is also okay. This is saying, yeah. Okay, so this is the end for the CSS grid layout. Hope it helps, and in next videos, I'm going to continue our journey on the CSS reference. Okay, CSS reference, and okay, I've already done the Flexbox, a grid. So align items, align self is done. We'll continue here from all n plus b. What the fuck is this? I don't know. Angle. Wow, what is angle? I'm curious. Angle. Angle is data type. Okay. Turn 1.7. I don't know what it is. Okay. Stay tuned. Hope it helps. See you next time. Bye bye.